Why BRICS was formed and why it still matters. If you had half the world's people, a third of the world's money, and most of its oil and rice, would you sit quietly at someone else's table or build your own? That's exactly why BRICS came together. Let me tell you the story. Back in 2001, a Wall Street economist named Jim O'Neill threw four letters together, BRIC, to describe the big rising stars: Brazil, Russia, India, and China. What started as a finance label soon became a club. In 2006, the foreign ministers met for the first time. By 2010, South Africa had joined, making it BRICS. And here's the kicker. In 2024, the table got bigger. Saudi Arabia, UAE, Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, Indonesia, and more partners are lining up. What was once 4 economies on the rise is now a global network of over 4.4 billion people. Why it matters? Let me put the size in perspective. BRICS countries together are more than half of humanity. Think about that. 1 out of every 2 people you meet on this planet lives in a BRICS nation. Economically measured by purchasing power, basically what money can actually buy, BRICS controls about 44% of the world economy. In real GDP terms, they're nearly neck and neck with the G7. And trade? Intra-BRICS trade alone was almost $700 billion in 2024, and it's growing 3 times faster than global trade overall. So it's not just a club anymore. It's a serious economic force. Now here's where it gets real. BRICS sits on 72% of rare earths, the stuff inside your phone battery, 43% of the world's oil, which fuels your car and flights, 36% of natural gas, which cooks our food and powers industries. And food, they grow half the world's rice and nearly half of the soybeans. So when BRICS makes decisions, it can literally shift the price of your groceries, your petrol bill, and even the next gadget you buy. The growth story versus the old powers. Here's the other big thing: growth. In 2025, the average BRICS economy is expected to grow around 3 to 4%, compared to just 1% in the G7. Countries like India and Ethiopia are pushing above 6% growth. Compare that with, say, Germany or Japan, where growth is barely crawling. That gap tells us something. The future of global economic dynamism is tilting south and east. BRICS isn't just about bragging rights. They've built their own new development bank, already funding over $1 billion in projects. They're trading more in their own currencies. Russia, for example, now does 90% of its BRICS trade in rubles, rupees, and yuan, instead of dollars. That's a quiet but powerful shift away from U.S. financial dominance. It doesn't kill the dollar tomorrow, but it creates alternatives, and that changes the balance of power. So why should you care? Because BRICS isn't some distant political club. It's a group that already influences what you pay at the fuel pump, how your country votes at the UN, and where the next factory gets built. I see BRICS not just as an economic grouping, but as a catalyst for a new multipolar world order. For decades, the international system was unipolar, with the United States setting the agenda. But BRICS is steadily shifting that balance. What makes this bloc unique is the presence of India, the world's largest democracy and now the most populous nation. India brings not just numbers, but also credibility. A democratic voice within BRICS that can reassure the world this is not about replacing one dominance with another, but about building a fairer, more balanced global order. With its collective weight in trade, population, energy, and technology, BRICS has the potential to surpass U.S. dominance in certain spheres, especially in growth, resources, and influence across the global south. So when we talk about BRICS, we're really talking about the future, a world where power is shared, balanced, and negotiated among many poles instead of dictated by one. And in that journey, India's democratic values and strategic leadership will play a critical, perhaps decisive role. The big question is, will BRICS become a political bloc that challenges the West, or stay an economic forum? Either way, its weight is only growing, and that makes it a story all of us are part of.